Willkommen zur Präsentation meines Vortrags vom September 2019 auf einem Wissenschaftskongress in Qingdao, China, Managing Economic Sustainability of the Belt and Road Initiative by Applying Pragmatic Identity Matching, PrIM. Ökonomische Nachhaltigkeit schließt immer auch soziale, kulturelle und ökologische Aspekte ein, sonst kann Wirtschaft nicht nachhaltig sein. Zur Belt and Road Initiative gibt es kontroverse Standpunkte. Ich möchte mit der PrIM-Integrationsmatrix demonstrieren, wie es dennoch möglich ist, gemeinsam Nachhaltigkeitsziele zu verfolgen. Kurz nach meiner Rückkehr habe ich meinen Vortrag mit den Originalfolien aufgezeichnet, wie Sie ihn hier gleich sehen werden.
Welcome to the presentation Managing Economic Sustainability of the Belt and Road Initiative by Applying Pragmatic Identity Matching, PrIM. PrIM is a planning model to integrate different participants in a communication and to transparently match their varying conditions, interests and contributions in cooperation projects. I will show how PrIM can help China achieve the best possible economic sustainability in friendly cooperation with co-developing partners. The Belt and Road Initiative is the greatest economic project of humankind. It will affect up to 4.4 billion people, 63% of the global population. To outline the subject of this presentation, let us first emphasize the vision of the Belt and Road Initiative declared by Xi Jinping: peaceful cooperation for the wealth and cultural exchange of all nations. The task is to manage economic sustainability with practices that support long-term economic growth without having a negative impact on cultural, social and environmental aspects. The framework is Pragmatic Identity Matching, PrIM, for integrating multicultural participants and interdisciplinary topics. PrIM supports friendly cooperation among nations as BRI co-developers. China's vision is a challenge because many nations do not have or share a vision. The Belt and Road vision requires nations to take position. The first task for China is explaining the vision and the benefits. On the one hand, the BRI partners are asked to commit themselves to support the project and each other in the long term. On the other hand, China is required to take into account the specific conditions and development interests of each participating nation. China has announced to invest $900 billion in the next few years, mainly for infrastructures. However, China's initiative and inviting vision is facing critical concerns in international media. They say China is compensating overproduction, making other nations economically dependent to gain political influence. Explaining the vision and benefits aims to establish communication, avoid misunderstandings, and build trust. There are many risks regarding the management of economic sustainability. China's vision needs targeting and coordination. That leads to a second task, planning for sustainability. Without targeting and coordination, without a framework and database, contributions of co-developers will only address single tasks and any action will remain a first best solution on a local level. Results cannot be evaluated and reused as lessons learned. It is well known that in non-coordinated international projects, unqualified executions unforeseen local restrictions and corruption can devour up to 50% of local on-site management costs. Assuming that BRI allocates 50% of expenses for material costs and 50% for on-site realization, we can expect an invisible loss of 25% in total, up to $225 billion, with no sustainable effects at all. A non-coordinated spiral of activities leads to such invisible losses and produces chaos. That leads us to the third task, providing participative and transparent process structures. Diversity management and risk minimization require a meta-planning structure such as the proposed PrIM identity matrix, an information structure to customize the BRI identity matrix. The BRI identity matrix based on PrIM is identity-oriented to describe each co-developer precisely. It is values neutral to compare and match different interests, and it is scalable to be applicable to huge and small projects. In the first step, the BRI identity matrix describes the Belt and Road Initiative project identity. In the second step, each co-developer uses the same matrix. All participants and contributions are systematically comparable. In the third step, different preconditions and developing goals can be aligned and matched to accomplish the BRI vision in a sustainable way. To explain the identity-related participative process structures of the PrIM identity matrix, I would like to invite you to an excursion into elementary thinking of philosophy. Ancient and modern philosophers, like Aristotle and Peirce, were thinking about the things in the world and their relations. According to Aristotle, a spoken word, in Greek semeion, represents the relation of a perceived object that inspires a herewith related affection of the soul that creates an imagination and expression in the mind of the speaker. Aristotle recognized that every individual has a unique perception of reality. His minimal triadic information structure of human cognition is universal. Charles Peirce later postulated not just spoken words, but everything is a sign. He called it semeion. Objects, living beings, events, organizations, ideas, etc. Peirce updated Aristotle's concept for the complex modern world. He replaced Aristotle's affection of the speaker's soul with the more general term interpretant, and he replaced Aristotle's spoken word with representamen for any kind of signification. According to his semiotic triad, a thing or sign has an internal relation which describes an object in relation to an interpretant of the object, and the representamen, how the interpreted object is perceived as a sign. Useful properties of the semiotic triad are illustrated by two examples. First, we can use the semiotic triad to analyze existing things, for example the sign blue pine. The object of a blue pine is woody plant. In this case, the interpretant of the woody plant is needle bloomer, and the representamen of the needle bloomer is the blue pine that appears as a sign. In case the interpretant would be fruit bloomer, the object woody plant could also turn out to be an apple tree as the representamen. But we also can use the semiotic triad to create new things, for example, the sign Belt and Road Initiative. The object of the BRI is global trading route. The interpretant of the trading route is defined as sustainable global wealth, and the representamen is international cooperation for sustainable global wealth. as the Belt and Road Initiative is to be performed and perceived by the community of nations. The model of the semiotic triad has a minimal structure with maximal content dynamics ready for customization. It is so powerful because it directly corresponds with findings in psychology and neurobiology. We recognize an object as a thing, we evaluate the thing as interpreters, we act as result or representation of our decision by choosing and using it. That makes the semiotic triad an intelligent model with affinity to human understanding. To make the flexible information concept of the semiotic triad applicable, we build a customizable information structure, the PrIM identity matrix. In the first step, we have to build the PrIM identity triad according to the semiotic triad of Peirce. Before we do that, we have to consider what identity development means according to a notion of developmental psychology. The identity development of an individual is an integration performance of intra-individual learning and inter-individual development impulses in social feedback. That happens in a lifelong dynamic process of identity matching with oneself and with the environment to achieve a strong self as unity for ourselves and in social relationships. PrIM transfers this principle to organizations, companies, communities, institutions, public authorities, nations, cooperation projects, etc. The PrIM identity triad translates the sign of Peirce into identity. The object becomes the subject, the interpretant of the object becomes the profiling of the subject, and the representation of the object and its interpretant becomes the presentation of the subject and its profiling. With the identity triad subject, profiling, presentation, we have emphasized the inter-individual outside-oriented identity development stages. We now have to map the intra-individual internal development stages as well. We will deepen the corners of the identity triad with subtriads. For the subtriads, the object becomes the substance. The interpretant of the object becomes the localization of the substance, and the representation of the object and its interpretant becomes the expression of the localized substance. With a subtriad, substance, localization, expression, we have emphasized the intra-individual or intra-organizational internal identity development stages. We transfer this principle also to the subtriads of profiling and presentation by strictly maintaining the semiotic triadic relation at each level, intra and inter-individual or intra and inter-organizational. We can preserve the sense structuring quality of this model, providing a universal information structure for individual customization to describe and develop any participant or subject in a communication as unique identity. In the next step, we amalgamate the three subtriads of the PrIM identity triad to build the PrIM identity matrix. Considering identity as a sign, the PrIM identity triad and the PrIM identity matrix can be applied to everything: cultures, nations, companies, organizations, individuals, projects, events, ideas, etc. With the customized BRI identity matrix, we can describe the project identity of the Belt and Road Initiative in detail, including all relationships in a structured and transparent way, with questionnaires, research, and all other required information. How this works is shown in our continuing BRI presentation, to which we shall return. For the process design of the Belt and Road Initiative with PrIM, the matrix allows to simultaneously describe and compare the identities of the BRI project and the various co-development partners as they are represented in the large matrix and in the small matrices. In the left column of the large matrix, the global structures, the global economic context and the mutual vision of the BRI, and in the small matrices, the local structures, the local economic conditions and the local visions and development interests are transparently described in comparable information modules of every identity matrix. If we complete the matrices of the BRI and each developing partner, comparing the global with the local potentials, comparing the global with the local economic position, and comparing the shared global knowledge including the local contributions, and if we further complete the matrices comparing the global BRI project resources with the global resources of developing partners, establishing the global communication network including relevant local contact levels, and defining the roles and functions taken vice versa from BRI and co-developing partners, we come to a detailed reality-based information source to identify and align any specific contribution of the Global Belt and Road Initiative and each participating nation as co-developing partner. The BRI partners can report their specific conditions, priorities of needs and development interests, and the global BRI project can provide or development-specific solutions needed regarding technologies, finance, resource, and on-site support. We create the knowledge archive with standard ABC questions to provide all the information needed for matching local conditions with global BRI targets. With the ABC questionnaire, we arrive at precise and meaningful information. The A question always aims at a description of the given situation, the B question always names the related problems or tasks, and the C question asks for a proposed solution. Transferring exemplarily this ABC standard questionnaire to the module structures, the A question regarding the situation is: how can your local structures support the BRI vision, or provide transport if needed, or prevent corruption if known in this region, or protect nature if relevant to a production process, etc.? The B question regarding the problem is simple: which problems can you identify? And the C question aiming at solution is: what is your proposal for solution? Based on the authentic information of the BRI identity matrix, the significant reduction of invisible losses and the development of sustainable solutions is almost inevitable through this transparent model and process. Using the PrIM identity matrix as the BRI matching matrix, we systematically can compare, align and match each information module of every single identity matrix of a co-developing partner with the BRI project identity. Returning to our example of information module structures, the appropriate question would be: how can the structures of the BRI project and the structures of the local development partners be aligned to create sustainable working structures for the project and its participants? In this way, we arrive at detailed solutions in each information module for each identified problem for each project participant. At a long-term planning level, we can use PrIM for the step-by-step implementation of the Belt and Road Vision. China is the oldest civilization on Earth. China is used to thinking in terms of 100-year planning. The Chinese Party celebrates its centennial in 2021 and the People's Republic of China in 2049. The Communist Party plans in 40 years periods with 5-year planning steps. Assuming that China seeks to achieve the vision of global wealth in 2049 as a leading global player working in peaceful partnership with other nations, we can use the PrIM identity matrix as transformation model in step-by-step iteration processes. In stage 1, to build the Belt and Road Initiative in 5 years planning steps. In stage 2, to further evolve the Belt and Road Initiative with the new projects in BRI network. In stage 3, to consolidate the Belt and Road Initiative steered by an expert team of economy, ecology and health, interrelating people, artificial intelligence and technology. All this happens within international relations in interdisciplinary knowledge exchange at every level, based on the holistic dynamic knowledge archive of the PrIM integration framework as participative platform and common database of the international BRI development. We can summarize China's tasks and expected results with PrIM for the BRI as follows. Explaining the vision and benefits to find suitable partners for the long-term cooperation. Planning for sustainability to get support from other nations and to encourage and secure investments. Providing participative development structures to establish the global BRI network for economic sustainability. The PrIM philosophy and instruments will reduce invisible losses of investments significantly during all phases from building to evolving and consolidating the BRI as a global innovation project for economic sustainability. To ensure an efficient process design, we suggest a BRI Management Academy for economic sustainability of the Belt and Road Initiative. The BRI Management Academy would serve as a global steering committee with the goal of improving communication and implementation of the BRI in multicultural contexts. The Academy would educate and train professional PrIM moderators, provide instruments and use cases for applying PrIM, and offer supervision and support for the PrIM moderators. The Academy would furthermore invite interdisciplinary researchers and experts to integrate and link available sources of knowledge. At the institutional level, the Academy initiates collaboration with representatives and experts in politics, economy, and ecology. A central task is the development of a global interaction platform and database to embed and link all areas of the BRI project and the BRI co-developers, including relevant economic, cultural, social, and ecological information of the participating nations. Thank you for your attention.
Zwei Jahre nach dem Vortrag erschien im September 2021 bei Springer Nature im Journal of Innovation and Entrepreneurship dazu mein Artikel. Sie können ihn frei lesen und herunterladen. Die Relevanz von PrIM betrifft die Komplexität globaler Kooperation in internationalen Beziehungen. Dies erfordert ein transparentes Management. Die verschiedenen Gesellschaften und Kulturen haben jeweils eigene Glaubenssysteme, Bedürfnisse und Vorstellungen zum Umweltschutz. In jeder Kultur existieren parallele Werte und Lebenswelten mit Konflikten zwischen Tradition und Moderne oder zwischen Nachhaltigkeit und Gewinnstreben. Für jeden dieser Aspekte ist die Wahrnehmung entscheidend, denn jeder einzelne Mensch interpretiert die Welt subjektiv anders. Pragmatic Identity Matching macht verschiedene Identitäten und Interessen transparent und verhandelbar. PrIM integriert Nachhaltigkeit global und hilft den Teilnehmenden, einseitige Sichtweisen zu überwinden. Die Metaperspektive eröffnet mehrere Erkenntnisbereiche. Die subjektive Selbstsicht jedes Teilnehmers, die Verschiedenheit der eigenen Sichtweise von anderen und den Prozess der Abstimmung und Vereinbarung der Umsetzung von Nachhaltigkeitszielen. PrIM ist eine Plattform für integratives Denken und kooperatives Handeln. Die Identity Matrix einer Nation bildet mit den Matrizes anderer Nationen die globale Integrationsmatrix. Sie bündelt die gemeinsamen Ziele und koordiniert die Anstrengungen für Frieden, Wohlstand und Umweltschutz.